Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the J. Herbert Smith Center's 2006 Energia Demo Day. I'm Amanda Nielsen, the program coordinator at the center, and I'd like to start by saying we respectfully acknowledge that UMB stands on the unsurrendered and unceded traditional Wolastoqey land. The lands of the Wabanaki people are recognized in a series of peace and friendship treaties to establish an ongoing relationship of peace, friendship, and mutual respect between equal nations. The river that runs by our university is known as the Woolastook, along which the Wolastoqey, the people of the beautiful and bountiful river. Woolastook is also called the St. John River. I would like to invite Dr. Dhirendra Shukla up to come and say a few words.
Thank you very much, Amanda. What an amazing day to celebrate with founders and amazing human beings that are changing the world. Huge round of applause to all the founders in the room, and particularly the Energia cohort. When Amanda's talking about the river and you can actually see it, it is beautiful, and I think UNB is probably one of the most beautiful campuses on earth. And clearly I'm biased, but I'm sure most of the people in the room agree with me anyway. It has been voted as one of the most beautiful campuses anyway. And this is an incredible journey the Energia cohort has had, because after ups and downs, whether it's on, off, we started the cohort with a massive start of the year, going to CES, doing incredible things. As you know, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but we won't talk about that. It's been incredible. And to be here celebrating Energia 2026 is phenomenal. We've massively turned the program Energia around. We made the program moving forward founders, focused on founders. That's been the biggest change we've had, is how do we get more and more founders in our ecosystem working with founders that are in or as students or in Energia where they're already startups and moving to the next stage. So that means that it's your responsibility as you go out to grab as many founders as you can and pull them into this ecosystem to really recharge and reignite this whole ecosystem to be doing more and us all reaching new heights. And it's incredible to see people from other provinces, other parts of the world come and be part of this story. This is incredible. And I just love it, being surrounded by founders. So positive, so exciting. And thank you all for coming and supporting. It's going to be an amazing day. Thanks, Amanda. See, the advantage I have is I have to be told what I have to do, right? whether it's at home or work. Story of my life. Thank you, Amanda, for setting me right. I want to introduce you to Hannah Clausen, who is going to be bringing words from the UNB leadership. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Thank you, Durendra. This is the more formal portion of the afternoon. So good afternoon. It is a real pleasure to be here to welcome you all to the University of New Brunswick on behalf of the Acting President and Vice Chancellor, Dr. Kathy Wilson. So as you all know, we are super proud at UNB to be one of the most entrepreneurial universities in Canada, and we're excited to be hosting the 13th cohort of Energia Ventures. This startup accelerator run by the great friends that we have at J. Herbert Smith Center of Technology Management and Entrepreneurship has been providing innovative programming and supporting remarkable businesses and entrepreneurs since 2016. With this cohort, more than 50 companies have now gone through the program. This year's cohort began, as Durendra mentioned, with a successful trip to the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas this past January. And I think that was an invaluable opportunity to explore global innovations and build industry connections. Most of the founders in this cohort have also participated in multiple other JHSC programs, demonstrating the strength and depth of UNB's entrepreneurial pipeline. 4 of the 5 finalists in the New Brunswick Breakthrough Pitch Competition, which will take place tomorrow, Thursday, March 19th, are graduates of JHSC programming, including Mully Swing Solutions, who are here today. Yeah. Yeah, and Uri AI Corp from last year's Energia cohort. These companies, they provide a really valuable boost to New Brunswick's economy. And the entrepreneurs behind today's 5 New Brunswick companies have worked incredibly hard, and it's really exciting to see the results of the months of planning, testing, and refining that they've put in. We're so proud that these teams chose this leading edge accelerator program at UNB. It's a real testament to UNB's strength and leadership in experiential learning and entrepreneurship. Through that hands-on experience, today's teams and the entrepreneurs who came before them have created real solutions that benefit both their ventures and our economy. So as I look around the room at alumni of this program and members of the broader UNB community, I'm reminded of how UNB's entrepreneurial programs and the people who stand behind them continue to deliver exceptional value at every level. So I can't wait to see what the future holds for all of you. And I look forward to following your continued success. So thank you, Durendra, for the introduction and for allowing me to be here today on behalf of the President.
Thank you so much, Hannah, for joining us today. Now I would like to introduce Curtis Kennedy, who is an entrepreneur in residence with our J. Herbert Smith Center, to come lead the rest of the day in the pitches. Curtis?
Can I get a woo? One more. Woo! Right on. Okay, we're kind of just gonna roll here. I'm gonna say some stuff and just talk about my experience here. For those of you who don't know me, I started a company while I was going to UNB. Originally it was called Vertiball, ended up becoming SimBody. We made these wall-mounted massage devices. Hilarious concept, like a ball that sticks to a wall, but it ended up working out really well. The university supported me, helped me fund the whole thing, helped fund trips to China. While I was going to school, the whole process, A to Z, was supported by like people in this room, shoulders to cry on, everything strange in between, just like the road was challenging. And I'm no longer with the company, but I had the most amazing landing spot ever to be able to come here and actually take what I learned from my experience to work with all these great companies. And the first person I'm going to introduce today Kara, she may not remember this story, but I got accepted to the UMB Summer Institute, and it was I was this 19-year-old kid, and I was just like, by the end of next year, everyone in their household is going to have a vertiball in it. And I remember we were doing this like St. Andrew's trip, and we were going around the circle, and it was like, well, where do you want to be a year from now? And to this day, it's something I think about like on a weekly, monthly basis, of like one of those moments that you look back on and it's just like, oh, what was I thinking at that point in time in my life? But I said, I was like, by the end of this year, I want to be in every Walmart in North America. And I remember Kara going, that's great to have that objective, but you might want to set your expectations a little bit. And I said something that still haunts me to this day. I said, well, yeah, but Steve Jobs said, the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Anyway, I look back on that moment and I'm just like, what a terrible thing to say as an introduction to a person. But anyway, through the period of time working with this group, I learned so much from everyone, especially so much from Kara, even though she haunts me to this day as a lesson that I'll always have. So I'd like to introduce Kara from Go Go Gym.
Thank you. Curtis, I don't remember that story. I remember sleeping that night in a room with 2 cats, and I was allergic to cats. And I remember saying something I should have asked before I booked in. By that morning, I was so stuffed up and unwell. I don't remember a lot, so it could have been at that time. But I do remember being incredibly honest and incredibly blunt to your group and the groups that followed. And I was worried when you were like, I've got a story to say, because I thought I might have hurt your feelings. And when Jarendra calls, I've got some words to share a little bit about my story, and I feel you tomorrow, and I'm going to really make this relevant for the time of year. But when Jarendra says founders need to look after founders, I really believe in that, because I wouldn't be here today, standing in front of you today, if founders didn't look after me. And the founders that I remember the most, or the advice that I remember the most, is the advice that made me cry. And those are the ones that pivoted. Those are the ones that gave me changes. And I really think, I always say, we learn in the valleys. We learn when it's hard, and we learn when the advice is rough. And so somehow I feel like it's a gift going back to all those people, because I had a lot of rough advice, but it certainly changed me for the good. I'm so excited to be here. So many ideas and ventures and excitement. And the fact that breakthrough is tomorrow, I didn't realize that until a couple minutes ago, but it's going to be cool for my story, because it was March 29th, 2006. And I remember this because it was my birthday. And I'm at the NBIF competition, and I feel like I'm the only girl in the room, and I still kind of feel like that today. And we were one of the contestants, so some of you with that nerves in the next 24 hours, we were up against, and I remember I was seated far back in the room. I had my 4 business colleagues, a couple of friends, and we were up against some pretty cool ventures. That year, the Tim Hortons chip card was being talked about. Can you imagine a chip card to be able to pay for your coffee? And I never expected to win, and we won. And they announced my name 3 times because I wasn't paying attention the first 2, because we were having more fun at the table at a fancy dinner at 21 Broke and Student Life, because I never in a million years thought we could win first place. I remember thinking maybe 3rd. We were young. There wasn't a lot of women. It was joint with business. Like maybe some sort of minority box would help me out. But when we lost 3rd and we lost 2nd, we checked out. And it was still fun. And so I remember that moment dearly, and I'm so excited for all of you. So good luck, and don't talk during the awards ceremony. But there's something I really believe, and I believe it today, and I wanted to share a little bit about my story, my journey, the good, the bad, and maybe some takeaways. And when I researched kind of what you're doing and my involvement with TME or the J. Herbert Smith Center, or even UMB over the course of the last 20 years, my company is 20 in a couple months, I thought you've heard a lot about technology. I'm assuming you've heard a lot about technology, and I'm assuming many of you could school me on technology. So I wanted to take it one step above and just talk about what has been successful for business foundations for me, because above the tech is the people, and above the people is the market, and we all have to work together. So that's kind of my journey. I firmly believe that most businesses do not fail because they have bad ideas. It's definitely the execution, it's definitely the timing, and maybe even just the grit. And as passionate as you are about your ventures or your vertiball, like going to Walmart in 12 months, Curtis, what were you thinking? I'm thinking like get a bank loan. But I'd love to watch your story. I paid into your first venture. I wanted that ball, and I didn't even know I needed the ball until I heard about the ball. So, you were extremely, extremely wise on that market. But I do believe you need to keep your pulse on reality. And that's one of the things that has really helped me to stay close to our market, to listen to your customers, and to be willing to humble yourself when they tell you information that you don't believe, nor do you want to believe. But I believe if you can bend and listen to that market, you actually will be very successful. And it's difficult. I've lived it. My entire career actually started as a student project. I mentioned that. I was an MBA student working with a TME student in engineering. My group was one individual that didn't come to class ever. The other individual I was dating, and I don't even know about the other one. I feel like they weren't around. So if you've been in that group project, you know where I'm talking about. They were all C students at best. I was an A student. I was actually accepted to do a PhD in France with an offer to come back to UNB to teach. So at 21, life was looking pretty defined and pretty good for me. And we had to come up with this business plan. And I remember Dr. Martin Willemacher and Mike Oliver, some names that you may know, saying to me, solve the pain points and you've got to do this. I had one goal. It was to get an A and to get out of this class. And a part of that, we had to solve a pain point, and it was an area that I knew well. It was gymnastics. I was teaching gymnastics at Kingswood. It's actually quite funny because my child now goes to Kingswood. Nothing has changed in the 26 years, nothing. But I pay them. And at one point, I was young and I had about 500 kids coming to me. And I quickly realized that Kingswood cared about really skinny, talented 8-year-olds. And by the time you were 13, your market was pretty much over in gymnastics, but they weren't going to tell you because they were going to get some money out of you till about 19. And then they were going to tell you your gymnastics career was actually over at 13. And I know because I lived it. I thought it was good. I thought I was going Canada Games. I was on all the right teams. And I gave every night of my life to that gym for years and years and years. And I suddenly realized they probably could have told me at 10. I might have tried out for the basketball team. I might have played volleyball. I probably could have done more. So I was really passionate about recreational gymnastics. I think it's important kids need to learn and flip and spin and twirl and understand where their body is in space and understand flexibility and movement. But maybe the importance wasn't so much about going to Canada Games because very, very few people in the market will actually get there. And that's where I found the pain point. And I knew that 99% of the kids going to that gym would never get on that Canada Games team, maybe even like 99.9. But there was a market of kids that loved gymnastics, a lot of kids that needed gymnastics, and they needed honesty. So when I came up with this idea, I would be a recreational gymnastics program. It was literally for the kids that didn't have really good talent. And I still say that to this day. If you come to my gymnastics program, I will say to you, your kid might be the 1%. You need to go to Kingswood. All the 99 others, you're totally fine here because it's fun. And it was Mike at the time. He said, this is not innovative. You are not doing anything. You're replacing a bricks and mortar. Bad idea. You're going into a C. Remember, I needed the A because I was on a scholarship to go away. And through multiple really good advice that I didn't understand until 3 years later, conversations, we put it on wheels. He said, be innovative, be mobile. We found out New Brunswick was overweight. It was 2006 was the first time we decided, hey, New Brunswickers are overweight. It was the first time that we had some money going into breakfast programs in school, healthy options. It was the first time they couldn't have chocolate milk and they couldn't have chocolate bars in a vending machine, and in came the carrots. We were just waking up in the market of this, that we've got a problem with our population. And it was an excellent time to promote a product that could get kids active in rural communities. So we took the idea of taking gymnastics equipment, we made it modular, we put it in a trailer, and we drove around. And I was, to the market, Very exciting on paper. Fast forward, we win. I won $20,000 March 29th, 2006. Some of you may be sitting there. I think it's like 150,000 now though, some like crazy number. But at the time, 20,000 was a lot of money. And we started the venture and frankly, it absolutely changed my life. As I went through that solution, people thought I was mega rich, mega quick. I remember 3,200 kids. I remember being in 21 cities, 21 locations a week. I was 7 days a week, 7 locations, 3 trucks, Fredericton, St. John, Moncton. I had thousands of kids, hundreds of employees, and I was losing money faster than I could ever borrow. And I am a queen at robbing the banks. I had every bank, every credit card, every boyfriend's credit card, every family member's like, I am a queen at that. And eventually it was catching up with me. And we were about year 4. And I remember going into a school. I was doing gymnastics at their school. It's the gentleman, actually, his name's Chris Treadwell, which is a story now because we're business partners today. And I just said, I need to pull out. I'm down $500,000. I really have to go back and teach. And it's going to take me 25 years to pay down my debt. And he said, Kara, you need to go into childcare. And I said, absolutely no way. I'm a fancy person with a business degree and an MBA, and I have a briefcase that was from Danier Leather. And I thought it was really fancy, like it was like $100. And I remember like, wow, you've made it. And he wanted me to go to childcare. Like childcare versus people who are uneducated. You didn't know what you're going to do with your life. It was absolutely not where I was going to go. Over a year, he convinced me to do a tour. I did a tour with my dad. We visited 42 locations, rich and poor, big and small, rural and urban. And I learned 2 things. In my opinion, from a business lens, looking at an industry that I knew nothing about, I had no education in, and I wasn't a mom, I said, I think we're okay in preschool. New Brunswick was doing really well. But wow, there was an opportunity in the market for school-aged programming. And I still believe that to this day. Our government is extremely proactive with early learning, 0 to 5. We have some great programs. We sell our programs around the world. I don't know if you knew that. But New Brunswick preschool programs are awesome. And there's a ton of competitors out there that I'd put my babies with any day. But when it came to school age, there was no regulation or very little. There was no programming, very little auditing. And what I was finding across the province, a box of dinky cars, a box of Barbies, and a box of Lego. And that's what kids did from 3 to 5 until parents picked up. It was unregulated and parents were paying a ton of money. So the business girl jumped in. Through that process, it was extremely difficult. I went in, I didn't have the education, I didn't have kids, I didn't have any experience. And essentially I was saying, you're doing it all wrong and I'm going to do it different. It took 7 years of what could describe extremely difficult days. Ostracized. We would have mandatory PL sessions from the government. GoGo wouldn't be invited. It was so difficult to turn the market. But somewhere around, 750 clients, they started to listen. And I'm so proud to tell you that story and that pivot and that market. And to this day, secretly, I don't really love childcare. Like that has never really changed. But the need has been there, and my passion to solve parent pain points and my passion to solve good programming with kids remains. And I think that's what I bring to you, is that by humbling myself to go to an environment I didn't think I wanted to be in, actually absolutely changed my life. So GoGo today is pretty big, in my opinion. We have 36 locations province-wide. We have about 300 employees. And when you look at the spin-off companies around it, we're over 10 million in revenue. I would have never imagined that with my $500,000 in the bank broke business. But it's because I listened to other founders and other advice and through programs like this. I wanted to share with you that I don't think it came from this perfect idea or this perfect mentor all at one time. I look back and I really believe it was consistency. I believe it was grit. And above all, it was the people I surrounded myself with. And if I can echo the thoughts of the people in the room, that's exactly what they're saying to many of you young entrepreneurs in the room. Not necessarily young by age, but even if you're just new to the ecosystem, it's like, I guess that's where I'd like to pause, because the people around you today are the people that absolutely have the power to change your future. And I look back and the people that were in this very room 20 years ago for me, if they're not my co-entrepreneurs where we're like swapping stories and strategies and contracts, they're my bankers, they're my lawyers, They're my strategists. They're my marketing folks. Like, this is your future. And you have such an opportunity to have the conversations, make the relationships, do more than spread your business card with the intent of getting your name out. Soak it in from who's around you. I really believe that that's what's going to create success in all ventures. Events like today and opportunities to celebrate and to talk about the passion and the excitement in New Brunswick don't happen enough. We are a deficit mindset province. We need to change that, and that's also on you. You need to share these ideas. You need to share this innovation. You need to share the coolest things that you've discovered in these labs and in your computers and with your friends and discussions. That needs to be the narrative to change tomorrow. We are smart. We are cool. We are humble. And by gosh, that's an awesome recipe for success. And so I seek to that. You know, I want you to lean in. I want you to follow up. I want you to build relationships. And I can tell you, when I look back, that is probably the single most important thing I did in my career. One thing my parents instilled also in me was that I need to surround myself and I need to be careful about my reputation. And it was my standards and my thinking and my opportunity. And when I look at new entrepreneurs and I speak to them and I mentor them, I always say that, like, find the people that challenge you, that make you think, that say, you know what, it's probably not Walmart in 12 months. And even though that's going to hurt, find the courage to get over that, because they love you enough to be honest. I could have said, oh yeah, that's great, as I'm like blowing my nose from the cat. In New Brunswick, you have something that I think is incredibly unique. And as I travel further out of our province, I realize this more every day. You have access. You have access to millionaires. You have access to incredibly talented founders. You have access to brilliant people that have had national impacts, and they are willing to take your call for $0. One of my favorite stories is Derek Oland, the CEO of Moosehead Breweries, was one of the very first people to pick me up in a Porsche when I was like 23. Now, what is Derek Oland, the chairman of Moosehead Breweries, doing with 23-year-old Kara? He said, how can I help? I was a part of the Wallace McCain Institute, and he was a mentor. And I said, well, I can't get into any of these schools. No one in St. John knows me. I don't open doors. Derek Oland picked me up in his Porsche and drove me to 6 elementary schools that day. He walked in, he said, hello, this is Kara, my friend. She wants to start a gymnastics program. Guess how many schools I got into in St. John? All 6. Guess how many I'm still into 20 years later? All 6, because of my friend Derek. And I have countless stories like Derek Oland, and he still will snuggle me. He'll hug me. He'll be so gracious. He'll hold the door, the poor fellow. I'm like, no, it's time that I'm holding the door for you. You have earned your keep. You know, he's just so gracious and humble and accessible. And there are a million, maybe not millions, there are hundreds of people in the province that will do that for you. And I really encourage you to go find them. That is the best place about New Brunswick, and really the best thing about UNB. This university wants you to be successful, and that there's a ton of success stories out of this university, and they are willing to help. So use them. The last thing I wanted to talk about are things that matter in 2026. We have more tech, more AI, all those fancy innovative ideas that you come up with than we ever have. But you know what we have, which is like actually hard to wow people now with an innovative idea? There are so many things out there. Try to patent tech these days. Like, it's difficult. But you know what's really easy is going back 50 years, like a handwritten note, a call. Hey, could we have coffee instead of an email? We went and had tea the other day. That was probably my most favorite business meeting of the year. We had tea in someone's home, and he made me a tea. And I remember thinking, this is better than if he wrote me $1,000 check. Like, it just felt so human and humble and real. And I have had great success of using that. So I encourage you, when you find these mentors, when you find these people who are going to give you their time and their expertise and their connections for free, thank them, write them a note, give them a call, do something more than your email to get above you and show them how much they meant to you. That will speak so loudly for you, and they will not forget that. So a huge piece of advice I have. The other one is make sure, one of my favorite quotes, and it's from forever and a day ago, is if you're not riding the wave of change, you're going to be underneath of it. I have that posted in our office. It's been posted for 20 years, and it still is true today. You've got to be aware of what your marketing, your clients, and what your mentors are doing. You will come in and out of mentors. You will come in and out of expertise. You're going to come in and out of guests. All of those things you need to be adaptable to work with. I also say you've got to have grit, and you've got to be able to under-promise and over-deliver. And that also is true. Even if you've got a 10 out of 10 wow card, sell 8 so that you can give them 10. That is so imperative because we are in an era of expectation. You tell me what it is, and I still already expect more. You check in a hotel, and gosh forbid that room's not ready the minute you're going to check in, and gosh forbid you can't do a late checkout, and where is that water? Like, you really realize how entitled you are in this world? You are, I am, we are, I should say we, how entitled we all are, and you realize the benefit of being able to under-promise and over-deliver. I really, really believe that. And the last thing I would say is, like, it's just genuinely hard. Like, entrepreneurship is extremely messy and it's difficult. And I wanted to tell you a little bit, some of the crazy things that I look through, and some of my days are the hardest. Often there's messier days than good days. Often there's messier seasons. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I had 10 good days this year. That's the reality. And I think what keeps people in business and what keeps success, I haven't been in business because I had a great product for 20 years or I had all great employees or all great service. I believe I was in business for 20 years because I showed up. I showed up when it was hard. I showed up when I wanted to cry. I showed up when I didn't want to show up. I showed up when I was hurting. And I firmly believe if you do that, you too will be able to stand here in 20 years and look back and say, look, here's my venture. There's nothing that saves you when you show up and all your 6 buses have every wire cut because someone wanted to sell 20 bucks of copper. Or when you find your staff like doing questionable things in a childcare van in the middle of the woods. I remember one day our entire $1,300 tires off the new truck were on the manager's car. How are you going to have that conversation and call them a liar without calling them a liar? Like, social media group chats. One time I had to fire all 7 people in the daycare, all 7. And I had to call 120 families. And I had to say this, there's a social media group chat. It's not about you. It's not about your kid, but it's really bad. And all your people are fired and all the kids that your kids loved are fired. But don't worry, we'll come above it. I hope you still stay with me. Those are extremely difficult things to do. And I called 120 of them over 4 days. And every single one of them had a different opinion. And every single one of them thought we were doing crazy things. The group chat was all about me. Or it was all about our managers. It was all about some hot father. Whatever. You're going to run into those things. And that's your rite of passage. So when you get to those roads, and let me not talk about social media, well, they will defame you, slander you, lie about you, and your professionalism and the privacy law will hinder you from preaching back. And it's likely going to take 72 hours to get a lawyer on that case to do something about it. And you will sit there and you will be smothered online with every comment after comment after comment saying how horrible you are. And your 10 and your 15 and your 20 years of integrity will be wiped on one freaking Freddie Beach group chat. What you do in those moments define your success. I fully believe that. So find those founders, find those colleagues, find those people who've been there that I can say, call me. I'll tell you, this too will pass. Don't fuel the fire. You'll be successful very soon again when that page gets buried with new news. It's worth it. It's hard, and I congratulate you on your success. And I want to lead by example. I am available to everyone in the room. Call me, email me. If I can help you with some really good, tough love advice, I'm absolutely happy to do that. Thank you for having me. I hope this encourages you, and good luck tomorrow too. And congratulations on all your success to date.
This is the first. This used to be S Club back here. Does anyone ever been to S Club? This is this is my first time in the ballroom with a coffee. It's interesting anyway. I won't try to speak too much. Want to get the companies going, but one thing I want to say, just on behalf of this whole exercise, what Durandra and the team, Dom, everyone is trying to build here, is important now. I think in a way like never before. Anyone in this room use AI ever? Can anyone? Yeah, I saw Kyle Woods. Kyle Woods, do you have a phone? We could get Kyle Woods up the front of the room right now, and we could all together be like, what sort of software do we want to build? We could get Kyle to type it into his phone, and in 50 minutes, we could have a software program that it would have taken a team of 10 at Google like a month and a half to make. It's a remarkable time. It's going to lead to change beyond what even we can comprehend right now. And now more than ever, we need this room. Like we need the commitment to foster the mind of thinking and the spirit of entrepreneurship. And so just really thankful for all you guys being here. Next thing, I guess, has anyone seen the movie Wolf of Wall Street? It's a good one. It didn't win an Oscar, but it should have. Anyway, there's a few lessons, like a very small amount of lessons from that movie. But one that I learned is pick up the phone and start dialing. Just pick it up and start dialing. Call people, call people, call people. And the first entrepreneur I'm going to present to you made me realize the importance of that the very first day he was in the program. He was picking up the phone, calling clients. Oh, well, that didn't go as well as I thought. Oh, well, that learned a little bit there. And in 3 months, he now has a business that if I had some spare cash around, I'd probably kick in to his business if he'd take it. I'm super impressed by this guy. So I'd like to introduce you to Jeremy from Agent Maple.
Hello, hello. Hey, everybody. All right. So, Todd Waller runs River Builders out of St. John. It's a luxury custom home company, and they run in 3 Atlantic provinces. Todd's a master electrician, and he built the company with his own hands. Todd should be spending his time closing deals and planning the next project, but instead he gets 100 calls a day from site. What's the grout color for the master bath? Did the client sign off on the change order? Each one of these has an answer. It's in a drawing or a spec somewhere, but the crew's on site and the document's on a server and no one can find it, so they call Todd 100 times a day. Todd built an incredible company, but he's spending his time as a search engine instead of doing what only he can do. Todd's not unique. This is a problem for every construction company in North America. It's a $2.5 trillion industry with over 875,000 firms. And management is spending 20 to 40% of their time asking questions that already have answers. Communication is the industry's biggest problem, and nobody has built a solution for how on-site construction teams actually work. Not one. We built a system called Agent Maple. With Agent Maple, we give every project a dedicated 24/7 AI agent. If you're an electrician or a plumber or foreman, you can call or text the agent and it will get you back with an answer immediately. If it doesn't know the answer, it'll put you in touch with the person who does know the answer, but we haven't had to do that yet. There's no app, there's no training. Everyone knows how to use their phone. And it learns from every interaction. Every interaction makes the system smarter and the knowledge compounds. Here's what we didn't expect. We started with questions and answers. It was a simple problem that had a simple fix. But after a week, Agent Maple knows more than any person that's on the project. And after a month, we've had over 100 interactions. We can see which trades are getting stuck, which specs are coming up over and over, and what the information gaps are. We didn't build a question and answer bot. We built the information layer for construction. Every call is a data point, and every question is telling us what's broken. Nobody in the industry has that. Todd's problem was answering questions, but Dirk at Iron Maple has a different problem. He needs to know which projects are on track and which ones aren't. Right now, that takes weekly status meetings and reports that are at a date before the ink dries. Agent Maple already has this data. We have every call, every interaction, and every escalation. We're able to give Dirk a real-time scorecard across his entire portfolio. He can see what's delayed. He can see which projects have issues and what those issues are. So questions and answers are getting us in the door, and on-site observability is what's keeping us there. But our customers keep telling us what they want next. Reporting, timesheets. Agent Maple integrates with our customers' existing scheduling and accounting software. And every month it gets more obvious that Agent Maple should just handle it. We already have the data, we just need to build it out. We're not guessing at our roadmap. It's being handed to us by our customers. We're turning communication, the industry's biggest problem, into our customers' biggest opportunity. We wrote the first line of code in October last year, and now we have 3 deals in the pipeline, and we start our first project in April. We have strong local relationships in the construction industry, and our cold outbound motion is proving to be pretty effective, as Curtis pointed out. We built 3 channels, so we have voice, SMS, and email before raising $1. Agent Maple pays for itself if it can stop one delay during the entire project. We charge our customers on a per project basis because that's how our customers think and how our customers buy. We are pegging our price at 0.2% of the total contract value of the project paid out monthly. And we're charging half of that for pilots. If the crews on the project like it, they ask for it on the next project. Iron Maple has 30 concurrent projects, so we go in with a pilot on one project, and if they like it, we grow to 30. The team is 2 engineers who love building companies. I'm Jeremy, I'm the CEO. My entire career has been in the startup scene in Fredericton. I've worked at Grey Wolf, I've worked at IBM QRadar, formerly Q1 Labs, and I've worked as the product manager for Snaptrade. Logan, my co-founder, has spent the past 6 years doing AI consulting. And we were able to build and sell Agent Maple in 3 months. So we're starting a raise, $600,000, and that'll get us to 80 active projects by Q2 next year, and that would result in $1 million in annual recurring revenue. With this money, we're going to do 3 hires, 2 of them technical and 1 of them go-to-market, and 2/3 of this round have already been soft committed from some of our lead customers. This capital is what takes us from something that we've already validated to something that we can scale. So I'm Jeremy, thank you. Come find me and I'd love to chat.
All right, awesome. Yeah, Jeremy, he's doing something special. So I would urge you to go chat with him after this. The next person I'm going to present has a company and a mission that is near and dear to my heart. As a former entrepreneur, sleep became a very big issue in my life. I couldn't shut my brain off. I had to work with colleagues overseas till 2 in the morning, and then after that, it was thinking about all the things I said or did wrong, or, just translation barriers. And I got to the point even where I was like going and making audio sound. I didn't know how to do like DJing or anything, but I was actually like going and trying to make my own audio soundtracks that were like really confusing. Like you could never follow them. They'd be like in and out and in and out, and it would like confuse my brain into falling asleep. That was my thesis anyway. So when I heard about this next company, I was pretty pumped up. And it's Alex from DeepRem, and he's went the extra mile so he's tested his first tool, his first product, and now he's going and realizing like just how incredibly complex and valuable it is to solve this problem, and no one's sleep will be the same. So Alex is learning at a pace that is remarkable, and I'm excited for you guys to hear about the progress he's made. So welcome to stage, Alex Tree.
Test. Think about this. When was the last time you had a full night's sleep and actually felt rested? In 1942, 11% of the American population got 6 hours of sleep per night or less. Today, that number is up to 40%. Insufficient sleep is a serious global health crisis. It leads to increased risk of illnesses and diseases, reduced life expectancy and quality of life, and beyond health, it even costs the US economy alone over $400 billion per year due to the productivity lost. This isn't just another inconvenience. This is a serious problem that needs an innovative solution. I've been focused on this problem for quite some time. We fully developed and built an app that provides you with a sleep-enhancing audio using scientifically validated techniques to increase the amount of deep sleep you got every single night, or in other words, increase your sleep generation ability. And we launched this app to a closed alpha test group and get 31 downloads and 21 paid subscriptions. But when I talked to our users, what they told me shocked me. They told me that everyone's sleep was different. There were too many other factors that influenced your sleep. Some people couldn't wind down, while others had erratic schedules that were preventing them from getting a good quality circadian rhythm, and others, they woke up in the middle of the night but couldn't get back to sleep. Sleep is a complex system that is affected by a multitude of areas, and the sleep-enhancing audio app was never the complete product. It was just a feature in what needed to be a complete platform. And from this, we learned that a great night's sleep isn't just one thing. It's actually 5 interconnected systems. And before, we were only focusing on the sleep generation aspect. But what we should have been focusing is on the system that ties everything together. And this is behavior. This is basically what you do throughout the day, and it affects the 4 other systems, while most people are working against themselves without even realizing it. So we built the operating system to fix your sleep and target all 5 systems simultaneously. We pivoted DeepREM to be a platform that builds you a personalized sleep improvement program, which is based on CBTI, or cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, which is the gold standard for sleep intervention. And this program is delivered to you through an all-knowing AI coach conversationally, so it feels like a real therapist. It knows all your data and has a long-term memory, but it's also fun to use. It's like the Duolingo for sleep. And it provides you with a toolkit of evidence-based nighttime interventions like the sleep-enhancing audio app that we built. And to top this off, this system gets better every single night. It takes your behavior data, your intervention data, and your outcome data, or how well you slept, to continually improve your program and adapt. So why now? Well, this system couldn't exist a year ago. Right now, there's actually under 1,000 CBTI therapists worldwide. So people are waiting years on wait lists to see them, and some may never actually get to see them. And to put this into perspective, there's 3.4 billion people worldwide who regularly don't get enough sleep. So the demand is just way higher than the supply. But for an effective CBTI program, it needs to be personalized, it needs to have memory, and it needs to constantly adapt to the individual to actually be effective. So this is the first time that AI technology is finally at a point where it's good enough to do all 3. And our coach can accomplish this and is working for you 24/7 in the background to continually improve and adapt your plan. This system would be impossible a year ago, and there's no system on the market like it today. Speaking of which, the market for digital therapeutics is growing at a rapid 22% year over year, and specifically the insomnia segment of that market is set to be worth over $5 billion in the next 5 years. So there's no better time to enter this market than now. And to do so, we'll be targeting the key demographics of millennials and Gen Xers who work long hours and stressful jobs, but they lose the ability to generate quality sleep because they're too stressed about work. When I've talked to these people, they've told me that they're starving for a solution. We'll be offering them a subscription-based app that's primarily going to use paid digital advertising as well as different social media marketing strategies to acquire these customers. And pricing will start at $39.99 per month. So the team is comprised of myself and our sleep science advisor, Hungy, who is a global expert in acoustic simulation for sleep with over 3,700 citations.
And we're supported by programs like the Harvard Health Lab, Canada Accelerator Program. And I just got back from San Francisco, where I spent a month in January as part of the Game On Accelerator Program. And I built up a deep connection to the Silicon Valley network and ecosystem there. So over the past year of working on the sleep enhancement app, all of the data points and all of the user feedback that I was getting has finally helped me get to the point where we're now finally focused on the right product. And we're building fast. We're set to launch this new app to a closed alpha test in April, and then later launch it as a public beta in May. And finally, at the end of the year, we're looking to launch a B2B pilot program as well. So to make this a reality, we're looking to raise $400,000 to validate demand, to prove scalable acquisition, and this is going to allow us to acquire 8,000 active subscribers and hit our break-even point by month 17. With that being said, thank you for your attention. We are supercharging your sleep.
All right. Sun is shining. How many of you guys are thinking about your golf swing? Anybody? I see some hands. Last round of golf I played, my dad beat me. He's sitting at the back corner there. He just got a new hip. And there's no amount of money I wouldn't spend on my golf game right now. Anyway, this if you golf, you kind of understand it's one of those things that whatever it is, if it's a new $800 putter every year, that's gonna just magically change your putting stroke, or it's just the latest speed technology on the driver. Like you're willing to put money into the idea that you're going to get better. But this next company, Molly, has actually created something that is tangibly going to help people get better. Just use it the other day in the simulator, and I've kind of told them this. I was a little bit skeptical about, but the data points that they are able to collect from this would unlock a whole new opportunity for intelligence for the golf swing, the connection to the club with the gyroscopic motion. It really is like an unlocked avenue for golfers right now that could help people predictively understand how their grip pressure can change their swing. So I really want one. I want to see this on all my clubs here in next summer. And so, yeah, without me giving away the whole exciting story, here's Molly Swing Solutions.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for being here today. I'm Bryson, here with Ethan and Alex on behalf of Molly Swing Solutions. And at Molly, we're helping golfers get a better grip on their game. We'll start by first taking a look at these three sports and one key thing they have in common, that being that they all require a piece of equipment that acts as an extension to the body. The problem is that these pieces of equipment have no feel to them. It's impossible to know if we're making the right connection, tell the difference between real and feel, and keep track of our grip habits without proper feedback. This is especially important for the sport of golf, where a good grip allows everything in the swing to happen naturally, and ball trajectory is highly dependent on precise swing mechanics. For this reason, we hear golf coaches tell new golfers when they first hand them a club, hold it like a baby bird. I don't know about you all, but I myself have not held a baby bird like this, and it can be quite a confusing metaphor for some new golfers. And not only is it hard to understand, but the data is starting to show it's not completely accurate. Up-and-coming studies in the golf space are showing that grip pressure in more advanced players' games indicates that they hold the club tighter at the beginning of their shot than beginners. These beginner golfers hold the club loosely at address, likely thinking of the baby bird analogy, and then bear down on the grip at the top of their swing. This inconsistency leads to wayward shots, with an example you can see here marked in red. And these studies are also showing us what a good grip can look like, with an example shown here in green. The issue is that golfers don't have access to a tool that shows them what is going on with their hands during every swing.
And so this is where Molly comes in. With our custom grip and companion app solution,
we're providing golfers and coaches access to data that they've never seen before. Taking a look at the grip, we can see that it looks, but it's also designed to feel just like any standard grip. However, underneath, there's an embedded array of pressure sensors and a motion tracking system that will connect seamlessly with our companion app. And so this companion app will provide users with both live grip and swing motion data, making any training environment more interactive and at the same time revealing those key swing insights that were previously hidden. So it's not just about measuring your swing, it's about making any training environment more interactive and adaptable to you, helping you fix your swing on the spot.
Training technology has advanced dramatically over the last few years. We have launch monitors to track ball flight, swing analyzers to track club motion, but we still don't have anything that looks at how the golfer is actually interacting with their equipment. This has left a critical blind spot in both the coaching and player development. We'll be solving that blind spot for two key customer segments: the coaches, who are looking for a tool to diagnose grip pressure issues and better communicate corrections to their students, and the golfers themselves, who want clear feedback to use during practice so that they can improve between lessons. And the opportunity is bigger than ever. Right now in the United States alone, there are over 28 million golfers who are spending nearly $3 billion a year on their equipment and training needs. We already know that golfers are willing to invest to improve at the game, and we believe that grip pressure marks a critical blind spot in this market. We'll be selling our grips for $350 Canadian per unit. This price makes it accessible to the everyday golfer while still reflecting the value of the technology inside. To use the system, golfers will also subscribe to the Mully Companion app, which will unlock the analytics, feedback, and coaching insights that power the system. And while we're focused on golf at the moment, the opportunity doesn't end there. Essentially any sport where the athlete is holding their equipment in their hand, whether it's a tennis racket, baseball bat, or even pickleball paddle, can benefit from the same grip feedback. This opens the door for Mully to expand from a golf training tool to help athletes across multiple different sports. Our founding team of engineers has been fortunate to surround ourselves with a strong network of startup and industry mentors. Together, we have the industry insight to deeply understand the problem we're solving, the technical backgrounds to build the solution, and the business experience to bring it to market. And we've made some great success so far. We're currently working with a great group of suppliers and manufacturers to refine our design for scaled manufacturing as we move from prototype to scalable product. We'll soon be launching pilot testing, where we'll be getting our prototypes into the hands of real golfers and teaching professionals to collect feedback on both the physical hardware designs and our software. And finally, we've been launching a pre-order campaign on our website where we're proud to announce we've made our first pre-sale. Woo! To date, we've raised over $200,000 in non-dilutive funding, but to take the next steps, we're currently raising a $350,000 pre-seed round. This funding will go towards further product validation and design for manufacturing, with the goal of shipping the first Mully grips to our early adopters by the end of this year. We're extremely excited about the future of golf training technology. That's why at Mully, we're not just improving swings, we're changing how golfers approach the game one grip at a time. Thank you.
Very excited about Mully. Now it gives me great pleasure, and I'm so thankful Minister Luke Randall could be here. Very fortunate, given that the budget was announced yesterday, and you could spare this time and support the entrepreneurs. Given your role as the Minister of Opportunities New Brunswick, Economic Development, and Small Business, very thankful that you could be here, and I'm so proud to call you a friend as well. Thank you so much.
We play. We invite ourselves into rooms where we think that we're going to spend 15, 20 minutes speaking to a few individuals, and then we push the other one into in front of a microphone to see what they can come up with. Now, I had enough warning today when I walked into the room to write a few notes. Now, what I don't know how to do is how to make the writing that I did large enough to see it. So I'm really going to go off the cuff. So first off, I want to just say thank you to everyone who's presenting here today. I'm really encouraged as a minister responsible for economic development. When I'm seeing these presentations, I know that the economic growth that we need to deliver in this province is going to happen because I'm seeing the talent right here. One of the things that I'm hearing, and I'm hoping that we can move this idea across the province as we look towards that growth, is what problem are we trying to solve? And I'm hearing that on the screen, and I'm really excited. But the next question that I'm also hearing being asked is there anyone who will pay me to do it? That's the question that we need to make sure we're asking, because that's where investment will flow. So in my case, I wake up asking that question every day. I'm asking, will someone vote for me to solve that problem? You're asking, will someone pay me to solve that problem? And I think if we're approaching the future with that in our minds, the success is there to be had. And to that end, we're going to be working with you. We're going to be working with the New Brunswick industry to start leaning in to the strengths that we have here in this province. We'll be launching a new economic development plan soon. And following that, we'll also be updating the SBITC. I'm sure that most people in the room know the acronym SBITC, but for those who don't, it's the Small Business Investor Tax Credit. You'll be hearing me talk a lot about that with the reboot, because that's what will really help this room succeed. That's the foundation, I believe, for people who are starting new businesses in this province, people who are wanting to connect to say, listen, we have these strengths in our businesses and we want to work together to start something new. And that's the piece that really has helped the startup community in New Brunswick. That's helped businesses scale and grow for about 20 years now, maybe more, maybe a few years less. But it will be a new tool, an updated tool that will help the next generation of business people. So I just, I want to give you a little bit of a heads up that that's coming, and there'll be a lot of things addressed that we heard from you and from other stakeholders as to how we can improve that. I just want to jump into and lean into something that Kara said. And I want the whole room to remember what sounded like probably her worst day when she had to let her entire staff go. And she stood up here and told that story. And she stood up here and told that story because she's grown her business since then. She leaned into that moment, she called all of those parents, and then she started to rebuild her business. And everyone in this room needs to remember her worst day, because you'll face it. And I also want to say, there's no better job than being a business person, than being a founder, than leaning in, facing that worst day, and then growing your business out of it. And I will say that as a politician, there's no better job than being a business person. So enjoy every moment, enjoy this pitch competition, and I'm looking forward to hearing more and meeting you afterwards. Thanks so much, and thanks so much for inviting me to say a few words.
Excited to hear the news about SBITC. I'll be tracking him down. For those of you guys who don't know, SBITC is a remarkable program we have here in New Brunswick, where if you invest in a small business, you can get 50% of your investment back as a tax credit. So just think about that as you're thinking about the rest of the startups. It's just 5K is like $2,500. So, but anyway, really appreciate the words there, and excited to hear about what's going on with the program. I'm gonna try to keep this short, but the next problem I think the next company is trying to solve a problem that I think maybe isn't right now the biggest problem we will all have in our lives, but at some point in the future, there's a very predictable route to it becoming the biggest problem in our world, and that is climate change. My favorite university class I ever had was Dr. Asfel. It was thermodynamics, and he said, well, class, if it was really cold outside of that room and you open the door and it's warm in here, what happens? And it's like, okay, well, air rushes out, and well, he talked about everything in nature wants to be at equilibrium, like level. And so heat moves around to balance itself out. Everything likes to be stable. And the challenge is that carbon dioxide has the ability to heat our oceans, heat our planet. And the only defense mechanism we have is our ice caps at the North and South Pole. and they melt to cool it down. They melt to cool it down. It gets warmer in certain pockets. They melt to cool it down. And then he talked about this principle of thermodynamic irreversibility, where once a system changes, it's incapable of going back. And Paris Accord in 2015, I asked ChatGPT to give me a 10-year update. How are we doing with our global emissions goal to keep it below 1.5 degrees Celsius? It didn't happen, which was marked as the point of irreversible change for a lot of ecological systems in the ocean. And ChatGPT basically said it's pretty likely that, unless we take drastic change by 2050 and become net zero, that, there's going to be a lot of places on this earth that are inhabitable. And that was much longer than I wanted to speak for. But anyway, I wanted to stress the importance of what this company is trying to solve. And I think this is something that the province and people in the province can really, really get behind, because we have the natural system to make it happen. So without further ado, Sea Green Solutions.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Curtis, for the nice introduction. I'm Marie. I'm co-founder and CEO. I'm also a PhD student in seaweed research. And this is Joel. He's as well a co-founder and COO. Climate change is the single greatest challenge humanity has ever faced. Accelerating this problem are greenhouse gases like CO2, and they're building up in the atmosphere and trapping the heat, so it's get warmer on this earth for every one of us. And this puts a lot of pressure on the agriculture industry, because 75 billion tons of fertile soil are lost every year. And farmers have to spend an extra 130 billion to maintain the same yields to feed us. And at Sea Green, we discovered a solution for both of those problems. And it's quietly under the waves of the ocean. It's beautiful, but also really powerful. And it's very underrated. And it's seaweed. Seaweed, this is seaweed. And when we think about carbon capture, we often think about trees, because they're everywhere. They do it really good, but they take quite long, because they mature in like 25 years, maybe. So we have seaweed. Seaweed grows up to a foot per day. It's a really fast-growing organism, and it can remove millions of tons of CO2 annually, faster than trees. So when the seaweed washes ashore, it decomposes. So the CO2 gets released to the atmosphere again, and we have the same kind of issue. So what we want to do at Sea Green, we will collect that seaweed and turn it into biochar. That biochar is in that beautiful bag here. And biochar has two key benefits. It's lockdowns carbons for hundreds to thousands of years. It also becomes a really powerful tool for soil. It's a soil conditioner. It holds 30% more nutrients and moisture, and because it's seaweed, it has nutrients like potassium, calcium, magnesium, very important for plant health. I have over a decade of seaweed research under my belt. I have a deep understanding of seaweed ecology, biology, and life cycles. And with this knowledge, we want to create a preparatory process, rinsing, drying, and heating, to turn the seaweed into a powerful climate solution.
So we are building our go-to-market plan with a three-phase plan. So basically in our phase one, which we're doing this summer, this is validation of the product, where we will collect and validate the data. We will also be building a full nutrient profile of the product, as well as securing any IP around our process. In phase two, we're going to take all of what we learned, the momentum in phase one, and bring that to larger agricultural markets and going to farmers to sell at scale. And in phase three, this is when we transition to a seaweed farm where we can unlock a full portfolio of seaweed-based low-emission products, all made from the same seaweed feedstock. So this brings us to the core opportunity at the heart of Seagreen, which is to help solve the climate problem. As we grow as a company, we're able to unlock more and more CO2. This also will position us to enter into the voluntary carbon market, which is projected to be worth $50 billion by 2030. If you see this really high quality render of New Brunswick here, that little green square is 4% of New Brunswick. If we seaweed farmed in just that amount of the ocean, we would be able to make New Brunswick completely carbon neutral. And we think New Brunswick can be the first province in the country to do that. Yeah, exactly. We have some traction so far that we're really excited about. We have letters of intent. We also have a municipal project coming up with the city of Fredericton. We've also won some awards, one with Boost Fredericton that helped us gain that access to the municipal project. I want to give some credit to Marie. She just won an award this week, the RBC Pitch Competition Award. So we're very proud of her for that. And along with our traction, we've gained so much experience from the accelerators we've been a part of. We're so grateful to be a part of all of the ones that we've participated in. We're really excited. We just started with the Algae Pro Bono accelerator that is part of the European Union. So this one specifically gives us access to mentors globally who have experience specifically in seaweed. It also potentially allows us to enter into the European markets with our product. We think our team is pretty strong. We're excited about that. I got to give some credit to Marie as well. She is so passionate about seaweed. She loves it so much she moved from Germany to Canada to study it. So she's got a wealth of knowledge there. I have experience with business as well as marketing and storytelling. And we have some great advisors, Dr. Philippe Chabante, who's a chemical engineer. He actually was involved in the group that discovered fullerenes, which actually went on to win a Nobel Prize, which is pretty cool. And then we have David Dixon, who has, he's our agricultural specialist, 24 years of farming experience. So we are seeking $150,000 of pre-seed funding for our pilot and validation stage, which is happening this summer. We're already in that, but we need to continue to engineer and build our pyrolysis unit, to collect and process our seaweed feedstock, as well as conduct a lot of lab testing to validate a lot of our processes, and continue to perfect our brand and packaging. And so at Seagreen, we want to turn the power of the ocean into a global climate solution, one that restores soil, removes carbon, and helps to secure a healthy future for generations to come. Thank you very much.
Seaweed! Seaweed! That's an exciting one for sure. And as I gear up to, this is the last company from Energia that we're going to have speak. We have one more speaker that Sam will introduce you to. But before we get into it, everyone do me a favor and take a deep breath. One more. Anyway, your cortisol levels just reduced in your body. You're less stressed out even if you might not know it. But there is a way to actually figure out how much your cortisol levels are reducing, it turns out. And our next presenter is making something that is not a novelty product. It's something intended to fit with our everyday lives so it can become part of it to improve them in a big way. So without further ado, the guy to teach us how to breathe more, let's give it for Kartik. Woo!
Thanks, Curtis. No, hello, everyone. My name is Karthik, and I am the founder of Velobit. Stress had a huge impact on my life, and when Kara was talking about entrepreneurship, this is what the cost of entrepreneurship was for me. Leading a successful data and analytics startup, everything on the outside was going great, but inside my health was completely broken. I was losing weight, trying to get back my life. And during those personal struggles is what I was trying to discover what stress is. And the problem of stress became very close to my life. And I realized that I'm not alone in this. There are many who are dealing with some or the other symptoms of stress be it physical or mental. And most of the stress are like chronic in nature, which also leads to conditions which are mostly irreversible. And when I was dealing in this journey, what I found out is I tried everything. I mean, right from medication, meditation, supplements, and I tried everything available on the internet. But there was one question always deep inside that, like, is this something which is kind of changing? Is this something which is like, am I in the right path? Is this kind of working for me? And when I was trying all these other options, I couldn't really get that solution. And that's when the discovery, or I would say the seed of Velobit started. Our body is designed to self-regulate, and breath is the fastest way to regulate ourselves. And that's what we are doing right now in Velobit. What we are doing is we are showing how your nervous system looks like in real time. We are connecting with Apple Watch and showing that data in real time. And along with that, we are giving you guided breathwork libraries and showing you how that breathwork is impacting on your body in real time. You see, whatever you're seeing right now on the screen is my data of last night after I did a breathwork. And you can see the shift, that how breathwork changed the whole biology inside. And if you look at the current market right now, people are looking at solutions. So on the left side on top, we have stress trackers, which I also tried, but kind of got more stressed. Then we have hardwares which kind of give you microcurrents, which people are paying to kind of, again, figure out the solution. And then there are apps like Breathe, Headspace, Calm, wherein people are like not getting relief. So at Velobit, what we're trying to do is to have one place wherein we have the hardware, which is Apple. We are having a tracker, and then we have the library, which kind of becomes a one-stop experience for the users to regulate their stress. Been very grateful for the journey so far. We are live on the App Store. So 10th of March is when we went live on the App Store, and we're getting hundreds of downloads every single day from across the globe. And that's what is making us happy. Thank you for UNB for all the support. Thank you to the whole Energia team, Dhirendra, Sam, Curtis. This journey has been so incredible and so enriching. This wouldn't have been possible without any of your support over here. You made a whole lot of difference in Velobit's journey. And I had a blast working with the team. Like, we have researchers, we have engineers, motion designers, all together. We are coming together and making this possible. We're bringing science in everyday health. And that's what is making this whole journey grateful, because we are able to make impact in people's lives. So please give it a shot. We are on the App Store. Please download it. It's free to use for 7 days. And if you love it, you could definitely be one of our paying customers. So go to velobit.com. You can download from there, search on the Apple Store. And we also have Instagram and a YouTube channel now, wherein we are talking a lot about how to sort stress and working across different kind of audiences, coaches to solve this problem. So yeah, thank you, everyone.
All right, how's everybody feeling? Less stressed after that one? I was sitting there listening to his presentation. I was thinking about how I spent 7-8 years working on potential motors, and the whole time I kept telling myself that I wasn't stressed. And then now people have been coming up to me saying, wow, Sam, you're looking like less stressed. Anyways, I wish I had his product throughout the whole thing. Let's take a second here and just do another round of applause for all of the excellent presenters today. It takes a lot of courage to go up and tell some of these stories, especially when it's a personal problem that you're working on. So, I mean, it's incredible to see how far they've come. We're going to take 5 minutes here and just take a little break. It's going to be quick before we move into the final presenter. Kumaran's going to come out. He's an incredible entrepreneur who has been in the ecosystem for, I think, 15, 16 plus years working on his company. So he'll have some pretty cool stories to share. And then we'll go into more formal networking afterwards and hanging out. So let's take 5 minutes, stretch, reduce that cortisol, and then we'll move on to the next thing.
That's true. Yeah, it becomes almost like that thing that you know. Yeah, something can be broken already. Just like how do you feel? What did you feel yesterday? Yeah. Sent an email, whatever. That's actually great, right? Emails. Sometimes later becomes everything. I feel bad. Right? Because like all of the stuff that I've done, this thing, the business, the rental I can't talk to you right now. I sent a text saying, listen, when you get a chance. Opposite, yeah, it is funny that you realize how I mean, because like this one's right, I think that's so much. Like, you're not gonna. You're right. You're talking about get a button. I also find for me, if I watch like a comedy film by myself, I'll kind of like little if I'm in a group of right. Darn right. I've done it and been the first and last. I was like, what? No. All right.
All right, everyone. Oh, wow, that's loud. We're going to get started here in a couple minutes, so if you can make your way back to your seats, that would be great. All right, we've got food. People have stretched a bit, walked around. Stress levels are good. All right, we're in a good spot. So the last person that we're gonna have talk today is Kumaran, and over the last couple of years, I've got to know him a lot better just through. We have this little Freddie Founders group where we invite a bunch of founders together and just try to, you know, to your point, Cara, earlier, you know, it's so important to get together as founders, and although this feels like you know, a milestone in terms of stepping point for many of you coming outside of the programs at this point. You know, this is one of the later stage programs out of the UMB kind of criteria of things. It doesn't end there in terms of support. And the people in this room, the people that you've met along the way are the people that are going to be there for, as long as you're willing to let them in, which is pretty incredible if you really take advantage of it. So anyways, Kumaran is one of these amazing people who has been helpful in kind of bringing founders together. He's had an incredible journey with Smart Skin. I'm going to welcome him to the stage. Please give him a warm round of applause. Very excited to hear his story.
Hey, hi everyone. So, on behalf of MBIF, I'd like to announce that everyone in this room is getting a $50,000 investment. I would like to announce that, but unfortunately I do not work at MBIF. And Jeff is probably going to ask for the sweater back. Well, so I don't work for MBIF, but I do credit MBIF for my job and my career. Last week I had the honor of judging the MBIF Breakthrough Competition. And that was a special moment for me because a long time ago, that was a competition that forced my hand and made me take the leap and start Smart Skin. So I think I definitely credit MBIF, TME, UNB, and IBEC for giving me the encouragement and validation that this could be a career opportunity for me. It wasn't something I thought of. I always refer to myself as a reluctant entrepreneur. Before TME, I didn't even know what an entrepreneur was. There's someone in this room that was the first time I saw and met an entrepreneur, and I thought that person was crazy because they left a job at a big company to go start a new company. I thought that's completely insane. I would never do that. And then 12 months later, I was doing the same thing. Or I was starting a new company. So at that time, I had no idea what I was doing. I can admit that now because things are going really great. So it's okay to say that out loud now. But at that time, I think my investors knew that as well. And I was really lucky to be surrounded by a group of entrepreneurs and founders who helped me. And initially, it was a little confusing and unsettling. Like I didn't understand why they were being so nice to me and helping me. And it took me a while to realize that they were helping me just because they wanted to see me succeed. And for that reason, I feel an incredible obligation to help entrepreneurs whenever I can, however I can, which is why whenever Dehendra asks me to say something, I say yes. And now he's asking me to speak, so to be a little bit more careful. But that journey of figuring stuff out is the same journey that the entrepreneurs in this room are. I really hope that all of you, your business plans come to fruition exactly as planned, but in reality, that won't happen. And I think it's important to understand that there are lots of people in this room that have gone through this journey already and can help you. There are things that you know, there are things that you don't know. And their experience can help you a lot. So don't be afraid to reach out. That this community of entrepreneurs is your biggest asset. The money will help, but this group will help you a lot. I think in my first year, I probably spent more time in other startups' offices than in my own. So don't hesitate to reach out because we want to help you. We want to see you succeed. The last thing the other thing I want to say is that when I started the company, we were a prosthetics company. There's no straight line from prosthetics to digital container twins in pharmaceuticals. Now we're in about 200 of the largest plants in the world. All 20 of the largest pharmaceutical companies use our product. So appearances, you won't hear me say this outside this room, but it appears like we're just killing it. And there's a lot of hard work that went into getting us to where we are, a lot of trial and error. I was really fortunate to have the right support behind me to help me on that journey. So I know most of the entrepreneurs in this room, and I'm like you guys are way ahead of where I was when I started SmartSkin. So I'm really excited to see what you guys do. And I hope that the people in this room can help you reach your full potential. And finally, I'll tell you what I tell all entrepreneurs I speak to. If you're not sure if you can do this, just remember that Phil Curley started a company and sold it. So I know you can do this. All right. Thank you very much.
I feel like every time I talk to you, Kumran, you find a way to make a jab at Phil. No, I think a lot of what you said there, we've had a lot of these conversations. The last conversation that really stuck with me that we had was, we're talking about, what gives you an opportunity to be successful building a company and everything. And I think Kumran just said, well, I think you just got to stay alive long enough for something to happen. And I think he's not wrong with that. I remember when I was going through Energia, we were converting vehicles to electric, and I was looking at a spreadsheet thinking, this doesn't make any sense in terms of our financials and everything. And one of the things I'll just say around that, like some of the hardest parts, I think, are when things look like they're going really well on the outside, but you're internally going, wow, we've got some major issues here. And that's where the people that you guys have met through the program, like each other, like the founders, other people in this room who are being supportive of everything, that's when it can be the most helpful, is when things look like they're going good, but you're actually like really struggling. So anyways, that's when you can find a lot of help. So I want to take a couple seconds just to shout out some thank yous before we finish up and get into some networking. So first off, thanks a million to MBIF, J. Herbert Smith Center, all the people who have helped organize Energia. So Durindra, Kurt, Amanda, Dom, everybody else who's been involved along the way. Like, you guys really make this happen. So a big round of applause to you putting this together. Now, just before we go into networking, I just wanted to leave a few words. I found it's very hard as an entrepreneur to step back and celebrate some of the wins along the way and those kind of milestone points that happen. And today, this type of a day, and for those of you in breakthrough tomorrow, like, those are milestones that you should stop and take a second and say, wow, this is incredible that you got to this point. There's going to be a million hard parts that come out of this, and everybody who has that kind of spirit is going to spend most of their time thinking about, what do I have to do next to keep moving the business forward and everything. But take a second and breathe and try to soak it in. I know I didn't do enough of that, and I think you guys will really appreciate it if you do. So with that said, let's take some time now, do some networking, meet people in this room who, as everyone has said here today, can certainly change your life. I know that was the case for me. And remember that although you're leaving this program now, we're here for you moving forward. So just let us know how we can help, and that stands for, I think, anyone who showed up today. All right, thanks.
And Sam thanked everyone, and we haven't thanked Sam enough for the time, energy, commitment, and passion he has demonstrated. Sam. Thank you.